Testing 1 2 1 2 testing. Yep.
Good afternoon and good evening to the East Coast. I'm attorney Alma Rosa Nieto. Nice having you here. Thank you for sharing the information and asking friends and family to join us on Telemundo Facebook Live English version. I remind you that there is a Spanish version as well on Thursdays. The hours are a bit different. 7 o'clock West Coast time, 10 o'clock East Coast time. And we got a lot of comments last time we had our very first Facebook Live in English about why aren't we on NBC? Why are we doing in English? Okay, again, this is for the English-speaking community that has immigration concerns. Telemundo and I have the full intent of giving and disseminating immigration information that is valuable to the community, but in another language, not just in Spanish. Many Latinos that obviously watch Telemundo Facebook Live in Spanish have children that are adults or young teenagers that don't speak Spanish, or they're married to someone that is not a Latino and doesn't speak Spanish. So our purpose is to be able to disseminate accurate information, the latest in immigration news, answer your questions, give you second opinions, obviously generalized information. This is not a legal consultation, so that you have access to know a little bit about strategies and what can and can't be done, and hopefully avoid fraud and scams, which are rampant in these days when there is so much immigration fear by the immigrant community. So that's the purpose for this. It's sometimes there'll be some information that's duplicated, and those of you that are bilingual have two forums in which to ask questions. If your question didn't come through this Tuesday, it'll come through maybe the following Thursday, or you can try twice. And please, please, please do share that we do have this new venue, and it is Telemundo Facebook Live in English every Tuesday, 4 o'clock West Coast time and 7 o'clock East Coast time, so that we can help a lot of people and answer the immigration questions. Now, before we start, I'm sure the questions are rolling in, but we did have some left from last Tuesday, so we're going to answer those. And please start writing, because we're going to get to those as well. Oh, and one topic. We did announce a topic. I'd like to also call these segments a mini news segment of the week, so that if you're not on top of immigration news, or you've missed a few days of news, maybe here this venue can be a compilation of what has happened during the week in immigration that might cover a lot of people, or that might be big news. Not so much big news in terms of any benefits, but there is big news in terms of prevention of fraud. Immigration, in the field of immigration, appears to be one of the areas where more fraud is committed by notaries that claim to be lawyers, by scam artists, by lawyers that are practicing other fields of law and all of a sudden feel that immigration law might be lucrative and now want to practice immigration law and don't know what they're doing. So, what's the new scam? Unfortunately, people have been calling, and your caller ID will show that it's USCIS, which is the Immigration Service, the one that grants benefits. So you pick up the phone and you think it's immigration. You probably have a case pending, or you're going to start a case, and you're thinking, wow, they're calling me, and they're asking for information that's confidential, like Social Security, driver's license, credit card information, because they say you owe a fee, or in order to proceed on the application you have pending, that there's a fee to pay and they somehow can expedite it. So you trust that this is the Immigration Service, when in fact it's a scam artist that somehow was able to get the number from immigration to appear on your phone as an ID, and you believe this. So please hang up the phone, no information to be given. Let me tell you what number is going to appear on your screen. Apparently this is happening nationwide. It's 1-800-323-8603. When you see that number coming in, best not even to answer, or answer and hang up, or answer and don't answer any questions. If you'd like to report this and say, this is, immigration can call you, rarely, but they'll never call you to ask you for money, to ask you for your credit card, for ask you to mail in any money orders anywhere. That's just not the way they operate. And I've been doing this, like I said last Tuesday, for 30 years plus. I know how they proceed and what the processes are, and they do not call and ask you for money. So again, the number that appears on your screen, 800-323-8603, it's scam. You are to report it to the National Customer Service Center at the Immigration Service, and their number is 800-375-5283. 375-5283. And you can speak to a representative and tell them at certain time, this is the number of the peer, this is what they said. And if you choose to talk to them, you might want to ask them for a callback number or some information that hopefully will enlighten the Immigration Service so that they can stop these characters that are scamming the immigrant community and charging thousands of dollars over the phone. Well, that's the news. Not very good, but at least we have this venue to prevent you. Let's get started with your questions.
Yomaya is asking, my mom's green card expired in November. However, she flew to Mexico because her son passed away. She's elderly and she's still there. What can we do?
Okay, I'm hearing the question kind of half, Fernie. So the person that's asking has a mother, her green card expired, and she's in Mexico for some reason. She's still out, right?
Correct. This is
Correct.
a daughter asking on behalf of her mother, who has a green
Perfect.
card that expired
Yeah,
back in November.
I got it.
And
got it.
she's in
Sorry, we were
November,
having
so-
some audio issues. Okay, very well. There are two venues or two places where you can request an extension of a green card. Very important to understand, and I know that the audience that we have today maybe has very limited knowledge on immigration. If you have a green card, an actual card, and it expires, it doesn't mean your residency expired. It just means the face of the card expires, and you have to renew them every 10 years, get a new fingerprint, get new photos, and get a new card issued. This way, immigration has your recent address at least every 10 years, versus before you'd get one when you were a child and you were 80 and you still had a green card that had a picture of a child. So there's the purpose of efficiency in getting new cards. So this mother is abroad. She's in Mexico. She can go to the American Embassy, and there are several in Mexico, in the different parts of the country, and go to the nearest one, tell them your issue, tell them that you've been out for a short period of time, hopefully not long, and you can request to get a new green card at the American Embassy. They'll charge you a fee, they'll take your fingerprint, they'll want a photo, and they'll issue a new card so that you can come back into the United States. But caution, green card holders cannot vote, they cannot serve on juries, they are not citizens, and they cannot be out of the country for more than a year. So we don't know how long this mother has been in Mexico for whatever emergency she may have had. If she's been out more than a year, do not go to the embassy. Seek counsel. You, the daughter, can talk to an immigration lawyer here in the States and see how best to request a new card. Otherwise, they may take her card and pull it and say, you've been out more than a year, you've lost your permanent residency, and guess what, daughter, that I assume you're a U.S. citizen, you'd have to reapply and repetition for a new card for your mother all over again.
Jacqueline Hernandez, my boyfriend is Cuban and he's coming on a tourist visa. Could we get married while he visits the USA?
Yes, if he's here on a student visa, any kind of visa, non-immigrant visa, you can get married. However, there's a little catch. Immigration has this clause or cloth over a law that says that if you're here on a non-immigrant visa, meaning a tourist, a student, a work visa, that's not going to turn into a green card, and you marry someone within 60 days of arriving, there's a presumption of fraud. They're thinking, you were in Cuba, you knew this woman, your idea the whole time was to come into the U.S. saying you're a tourist when that wasn't really true, to marry her and then get a green card. You've committed fraud. So you have to, again, check with a lawyer, with a counselor, and seek and see when you should marry so that this presumption is diminished and it won't cause a harmful effect at the end when he's about to get his green card.
Mario Gomez would like to know, can you work for law enforcement if you have DACA in New York?
Wow, each state is different, and I understand that DACAs, I know many young DACA recipients have wanted to go into the military, and you'd have to check. I don't know the laws in New York, although I'm in California, but each state, because that's local law, will have different requirements. I know for federal purposes, no, you would not, probably cannot, but for state purposes, some have different fluctuating. So I would get online, I would call and ask that Bureau of Police Department and ask what the requirements are.
Another DACA question. Diego Morales. I have DACA and my brothers are born in the U.S. They are citizens. Can they apply for a residence for me?
Of course they can. A United States citizen, and I'll put myself in it to make kind of a diagram here. I'm a United States citizen. I can apply for my parents if I'm over 21. I can apply for my siblings, and if one of my siblings is married and has children, that'll include my in-law, my brother-in-law, sister-in-law, my nephews, as long as they're under 21. I can immigrate a spouse, and I can immigrate children. Single children, married children, and their spouses and their children. So to become an American citizen is always beneficial because it opens up the window of how many family relationships can benefit from that U.S. citizen. So in this case, you say you have DACA, which means you're a dreamer and you have a temporary permit, and you have a sibling. If your sibling is over 21, he or she can definitely petition for you. There's different wait times depending on what part of the globe you're from. It's lengthy, anywhere from 10 to 20 years. That's why I laugh when people say get in line and get a green card. For some countries, the wait from brother to brother or brother to sister is 18 to 20 years in length. That's how long you have to wait to get a green card.
Erica Davi, is there any way you can lose your citizenship after it's given to you?
Excellent question. And again, I've been practicing 3 decades. I rarely see, I don't think I've ever seen any of my clients or any of my colleagues tell me that, oh, they had a client and they lost their citizenship. This administration has, first it was a leak and now it seems like it's more of a certainty. They're going to go over all the citizenship grants during the Obama period and see if they can rescind citizenship because they're alleging that there is fraud in how they obtained it. So under past administrations, I would say it's almost impossible unless they find out somehow by clear and convincing evidence that you committed fraud in how you got your green card or how you got your citizenship. But that is changing under this administration, and unfortunately they will be attempting to rescind citizenships granted in the past.
Araceli Guzman, I just applied for citizenship, but my residence card expires in 2 months. Can I renew my card?
Well, Araceli, I don't know how much money you have, but renewing a card is almost $600 and the citizenship was almost $800. When you go to your naturalization exam, they'll question you, they'll want to see the card. But when you go to your final swearing in, where there's a big ceremony, there are thousands of people, you'll hear a speech given to all the new citizens, and they actually grant you your certificate of citizenship. They're going to ask you for your old card, and you hand it in. They don't care if it's expired or it's current. And for your exam, they don't care if it's expired or current. So I tell my clients, if you're tight on money, don't renew it. It's not going to cause you any negative effect for citizenship. However, exception. If you are in a job and you think that they might be shutting down or you might lose your job and you're going to be searching for a job, definitely you have to renew it, because when you're job hunting, they're going to want to see a green card that is valid. Or if you have an emergency or business and you have to travel outside of the United States, go ahead and renew your card. You're going to need it for that. But if you're going to stay put and your job is pretty secure, I wouldn't spend the money on renewing it. You can just go ahead and turn in the old one when you get your citizenship certificate.
Coquito Cruz, I was recently arrested and was about to send my petition for the green card through my husband. I have a court date pending. What should I do?
Okay, you're not telling me why. You're not telling me what charges you have, if it's a misdemeanor, if it's a felony, if it's something egregious, if it's something minor, if it's a traffic violation. So the first thing I would do is take the police report or the charging documents, if you have them, to an immigration attorney. And you might have to work with 2 attorneys, a criminal lawyer if you don't want to pay, if you have the money to pay and you don't want to use a public defender. You're going to talk to that person and say, okay, what's the strategy here for this case? What's the worst that could happen? And remind that person, I have a green card, Mr. Public or Ms. Public Defender. Will this affect my green card? Will they take it away if I plead guilty or if I plead no contest or if I get convicted? And you're going to want to see an immigration attorney. Sometimes what I do is I talk to counsel, criminal counsel, and they'll be in court and they'll tell me the judge won't agree to do this, but he'll accept this plea. Will that hurt your client's green card? And I'll say, yes, keep fighting, or no, that's good. So you don't want to lose what is so difficult to obtain. And I don't want to scare you because it might be something minor, but get advice before you go to your final court hearing and plead or get a judgment of conviction because it could affect your green card.
Valeria Lopez, what's going to happen with those who got the TPS once and they need to renew the permit?
You can still renew it unless, unfortunately, the news has come down that this administration no longer plans to extend and renew TPS for Haitians, for citizens of Haiti only. There are TPS for many countries, some in Africa, in the Caribbean, and some in Central America. So far, Honduras and El Salvador continue to have TPS, and so I would definitely renew it, because you never know. There was a TPS for Central America in the 90s that Congress later merged it into something called NACARA, and that allowed those applicants to then get a green card. So my recommendation is always, by hook or crook, borrow money, pay the fee, and renew every 18 months your TPS, because otherwise you'll be out of status and subject to deportation.
Jay Leal, I'm a U.S. citizen and over 21 years old. Can my parents get legalization in this country through a waiver? They've been paying taxes for the past 10 years.
Wow, I love it. So many people that are here without status pay taxes, and I wish that that would be a way to immigrate. Unfortunately, it isn't, and it doesn't help or hinder. However, again, I'll use myself as an example. I'm the citizen, I'm 21 and over, I want to immigrate my mom and dad. Yes, I can, but caveat, or I should say warning, if your parents are here undocumented and they came without a visa, without any kind of permit, as the media likes to say, illegally, and they've been here for more than a year, if you petition for them, you're doing them a great disservice and a great harm, because they'll get an approval notice from immigration, then they'll get an interview to go back home to the American Embassy from whatever country they're from, and they will be banned from re-entering for 10 years. That's the punishment. And there is no waiver if a U.S. citizen is petitioning for mom or dad. There's only waivers if a U.S. citizen is petitioning for a spouse or children. So careful. If you want to help your parents, and I would not see why you wouldn't, please seek legal advice to see the particulars for your parents, to see if it's best you leave them just as they are, or you file something for them and maybe there's a way of getting a waiver. I like to use a little trick. If my client's a U.S. citizen and he has a father or mother who's here illegally or undocumented, I should say, and they haven't entered with a visa, but that person, my mom or dad, has a mother or a father that is legal, in other words, my grandparents, then I can ask for a waiver. So I would ask for a waiver through the relative that has the green card or the citizenship, and I, the citizen, would petition for my mother or father. It gets complicated, I know, but you want strategy, and you want to see if that can work in your parents' case. If not, don't even touch it. Don't even go there. Let them be until there's a change in the laws.
Carmen Carrington, my sister is disabled and has been living in the U.S. for over 10 years. She currently lives in a nursing home. Can I apply to help my sister? I'm an American citizen.
Okay, if you're over 21, yes, you can apply. There's going to be an issue at the end. The process starts with an application with a name or number of an I-130. It's a yellow form, and you fill it out, and you, the petitioner, the citizen, files it with immigration. You'll get an approval. Then the process continues either at the Immigration Service in the United States, at your local immigration office, or abroad in their home country. When she goes to either the American Embassy or the immigration office, if she's eligible to immigrate here, the immigration officer is going to want to see an affidavit of support. They're going to want to see that you, Mr. American citizen, have the funds to pay for her treatment and her support if she can't work. And if she's disabled and can't work, they're going to want to see that she's not going to be a public charge to the government. So if she's receiving any kind of public benefits now, she may lose those, or you may be charged for them if you apply for her. So again, this is general information, and hopefully I pique your interest and I pique your curiosity to now seek counsel with a competent immigration attorney, someone recognized with experience in this field, not in personal injury or family law and dabbling in immigration law. and see what would be the consequences to you if she continues to receive any kind of assistance for her disability. So it's not that you can't apply for her, it's the repercussions later if you do get her a green card and you sign an affidavit of support promising the government to support her.
Thank you so much. And this is the last question from Aide Lara.
Time flies. Yeah.
It does. I have 2 felonies and I'm currently married to a citizen. What are my possibilities to become a citizen myself?
Okay, again, we're having a little bit of audio question. So can you repeat it? I heard the possibilities of becoming a citizen myself, but not the beginning.
Okay, the beginning was that this person has 2 felonies and they're currently married to a citizen. So they would like to know what are their chances of becoming a citizen.
Okay. Many people in the English-speaking community, regardless of race and color and heritage and background and country of birth, but citizens or speak English, think that citizenship and having a green card is the same thing. They are 2 separate animals. You cannot be from undocumented to a citizen. You're undocumented or you come in with some kind of visa and then you go for a green card. That means lawful permanent resident. Then you can apply for citizenship a certain amount of years later, usually 5. I'm not sure if you have a green card and you have 2 felonies and now you want to apply for citizenship. I'd say no way. Please see an immigration attorney first. Take your docket sheets. That means your court convictions of both felonies so that attorney can review them, and that attorney may send you to criminal counsel to see if you can lower the felony to a misdemeanor, modify its terms, vacate it, eliminate it, get a pardon, something. Do not go to try to get citizenship with priors without seeing counsel first, because you can lose your green card. That's one side of the answer, because I don't have the ability to ask you, unfortunately. If you're not in any kind of status, you have 2 felonies, you're married to a citizen, you want to get a green card, I doubt they're going to give you a green card with 2 felonies. What I do is work with criminal counsel and see how we can ameliorate, lower, wash out, erase, and somehow those crimes so that you can be eligible. And we do that first, and then we apply for residency. So remember, a big distinction. Residency is one thing, citizenship is another. Thank you. Well, I remind you to please share this information, spread the word, find the link, share it with your friends, that this is going to be happening every Tuesday, 4 to 4:30. And for those that maybe you know someone that only speaks English, but they're married to someone that only speaks Spanish, tell them, hey, and you can get free immigration information and some strategy and advice and news on immigration on Thursdays as well. Same channel, Telemundo, Facebook Live, on Thursdays, 7 p.m. West Coast time, 10 p.m. East Coast time, every Thursday. And that we've been doing for 5 months with much or tremendous success. And we hope that this English version has the same success as well. I thank you for your time and thank you for sharing. And we'll see you next Tuesday. Thank you. Bye-bye.